Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to get into the latest Raiders draft rumors, but also some NFL draft news that really could impact the silver and black. If you don't already know, huge shout out to today's sponsor, Panda Sups, and I want you to go use their code TEST for 25% off their test boosters at pandasups.com. The link is going to be available for you guys in the comments and in the description of today's show. One dude who looks like he could potentially be using some of that Panda Sups is Will Levis, and we're definitely going to be talking about him today because we have some interesting draft rumors, and then who's going to be the number one overall pick? I always think it's funny when things start popping up left and right the few days before the draft, because this is prime time smokescreen season where this leak is out, that leak is out. We need to get a plumber to start patching up all these leaks. And hopefully, y'all are tuning in with Jeremy Chugs and I, because we're going to be rocking and rolling during the 2023 NFL Draft. And my question to all of you is this: who is going to be the number one overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft? If you don't know how Chat Sports works, it's an interactive show, so please go down in the comments whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on a later date. My money is still going to be on Alabama quarterback Bryce Young, but the Will Levis rumors, to me, I love rumors. If you don't know that, then you're watching the wrong show. The Will Levis number one overall rumors is a lot of fun. If you don't know exactly, it's this. So right now, apparently, according to the internet, the Panthers could actually draft Will Levis number one overall. And one of the things that I love about rumors is sometimes people validate it, and then other times people just run with the story. Some dude on Reddit, you can go look it up, said that Levis is telling friends and family he's going to go number one overall. And then apparently he also just followed Panthers offensive coordinator Josh McCown on Instagram. So you have that he's telling friends and family, that he followed Josh McCown. So you got Reddit, you got, well, that's what he said, and now you got Instagram. I mean, those are the three biggest things. But the one thing, not that this isn't intriguing to me, what I always listen to, Vegas, because Vegas always knows. This is interesting. When y'all went to bed Monday night, Will Levis odds to go number one overall, 50-1. 50-1 in the 2023 NFL Draft. Guess what? Those odds went to 25-1, to then to 10-1. And now the odds are even higher than that. To me, I get it. This is prime time smokescreen season. I do not believe that Will Levis is going to be going number one overall. But if he does, chaos. If he does, I do think it really, truly helps out the Raiders, because you see a guy like Levis go that early, that means other primetime players are going to be sliding down a little bit. So according to the number one overall odds here, Levis went from 50-1 to plus 700. So 7-1 odds, essentially. Bryce Young is still the clear favorite according to Vegas, and it's not even close. CJ Stroud then at plus 3,000. Anthony Richardson, Will Anderson. These are the latest odds to go number one. Now, even though I do not believe that Levis is drafted at 1, there's a chance that he could be the second quarterback drafted. We've seen in the last week and a half, the CJ Stroud love started to fall down. We've seen Anthony Richardson, plenty of holes in his game. Is the upside there? No doubt about it. But then there's also a lot of other NFL GMs that believe, hey, Will Levis, could he potentially be the next Josh Allen? He has a lot of upside. And these are the latest Vegas odds at number 2 overall. The favorite, Levis at plus 150. Tyree Wilson plus 300. Will Anderson plus 300. Stroud plus 350. Bryce Young at plus 800. And then Anthony Richardson at plus 4,000. A lot of times you look at these, it does have to do with the team that's drafting. Also, it has to do with if a team were to be willing to trade up. What I hear from this, though, and what I see is the team or the quarterback most likely to be drafted at number 2 if a team trades up is Will Levis. So that means Vegas is hearing something. On top of that, I think if they don't trade out of it, sounds like Tyree Wilson at number 2 overall could be something. So all I know is this: Vegas knows something. And for Vegas to know that and to see the odds change, to see odds change is one thing. To see them change that drastic and that quickly makes me wonder if Levis actually does think that he's going number 1 overall, or maybe he knows something that he's going to be potentially number 2. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, how the Will Levis rumors help the Raiders out, because I'm not doing this show to talk about even more quarterbacks. No, I want to do this show, and I want to talk about Levis, and I want to talk about Stroud, because all of these things that happen, every team that picks in front of McDaniels and Ziegler come draft night, that impacts the Raiders, and I'm going to tell you why it's a good thing. If you don't already know, we're going to be live, so hit that subscribe button, and I hope you got your drinking pants on. Hopefully we got some lucky Irish going so the Raiders don't have another bad draft pick. But Jeremy Chuggs and I, we get the picks before you see them on TV. We have giveaways, tons of giveaways. We have ticket giveaways for the first Raiders game if you want to stay tuned in to check that out. All I'm saying is picks, hanging out with Raider Nation, and we're going to have them before TV, giveaways. I think I said it all. Hit that subscribe button. People who are some real ones that I know will be tuned in. Shout out to VT Holmes, Patrick B., Daryl Anderson, Christopher, and Michael Hyde. If you want to become a real one, subscribe to the Raiders Report, because we do say real one for life. So let's continue to rock and roll here with Will Levis and how the Will Levis rumors help out the Las Vegas Raiders. I can tell you right now, Silver and Black aren't interested in Will Levis. There was at times where it was reported, don't buy it. So the fact that this quarterback, who the Silver and Black are not interested in, could potentially go this high, that's a good thing. Other good talent starts to slide down. The more and more players that the Raiders are not going to take at 7, the more that they get drafted higher than them, that means more and more talent continues to fall down. So if you're on the narrative of, hey, I would like the Raiders to trade back, that's good, because guess what? More players slide down, better value a little bit later on. Trade back becomes easier. If CJ Stroud is there at 7, teams are going to be calling. If plethora of talent is available at 7, I do believe that people will come calling, whether that's the Tennessee Titans at 11, maybe it's the Commanders at 16, the New England Patriots at 14, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There was a report that came out that they could potentially trade up for a quarterback. Hell, I've seen things as crazy as the Minnesota Vikings, all the way in the 20s, could trade up. It also means that Stroud could be there at 7. And if McDaniels and Ziegler want to take a quarterback and they don't have to give up all the draft capital, it's there. And if Stroud's there at 7, I know we talked a lot about trading back if Will Levis was there, trading back if Anthony Richardson's there. If Stroud's there, to me, you're going to get even more, because people can say what they want. Stroud's a much more, I'll say, pro-ready quarterback now than Anthony Richardson, than Will Levis, and honestly, I don't think it's close. Coming up next here, CJ Stroud will be there at pick 7. That's what the latest rumblings are right there. I know Raider Nation SMB said if he's there, it sounds like he might actually be there at pick number 7. Before I go into the latest around the Ohio State quarterback, friendly reminder that today's show is presented by Panda Subs. And if you've noticed, I've been working out a little bit more. I've been trying to cut down to get into shape, right? If I'm going to judge these players on trying to get into the best shape of their life, well, guess what? I'm going to try to do it as well. So if you don't already know, use code TEST, 25% off at pandasups.com. That link again for all of y'all is going to be available in the comments and in the description of today's video. So does anybody out there have a hard time, I don't know, getting to the gym? I know sometimes in the morning I have a little bit of a difficult problem to get there. The motivation, it might not be there. I also know that I don't burn fat the way I used to. I don't build muscle the way I used to when I was in my early 20s. If you take some tests, I promise you this, you're going to be able to build muscle strength. It's also going to improve your sex drive, and it's going to increase your energy levels. Welcome to the all-new Panda Test. Panda Test uses clinically dosed ingredients to naturally boost free testosterone levels and reduce stress hormones. So probably in the last 3 weeks, I've been using the test because I wanted to try it out. which I've used Panda Sup's products before, and if you follow me on social media, you'll know that this is the only products that I use. But I mean it. I want y'all to give their products a try. I think you're really going to enjoy them, and especially this test. Not only is it going to be good for you, beach season's right around the corner. I think she's going to like it as well. So one more time here from the top rope. Use code TEST for 25% off at pandasups.com. Shout out to Panda for sponsoring today's show. Diehard Raider fan. He's been here for over 2 years. If you want to support, Panda's the way to go. Let's look at CJ Stroud now and his stock. It continues to fall. There's a report out that he is no longer a surefire top 5 pick. Peter King, who's got some pretty good connections around the NFL, said that it's not even a lock to go within the top 7 picks, which is interesting because if you really follow all these rumors, reports, and I get it, there's a lot of rumors, a lot of reports out there, but to me, there's always a trail left behind. There are news stories out there that the Raiders aren't going to take a quarterback in the first round. Like, they're not going to take somebody with that first pick that they have. And Peter King, I know, knows a lot of people inside of that Raiders organization. So for him to specifically say that he's not even a lock to go within the top 7 picks, you should think top 7 picks and Raiders, which means he's heard something that if he's there at 7, the Raiders might actually pass on Stroud. Also, the S2 co-founder said that some of the results from the testing, because if you remember last week there was results that were leaked, and apparently Stroud finished in the 18th percentile. What if those weren't true? What if somebody's just leaking those for Stroud to go down? Remember, primetime smoke screen season. But when I looked at the latest CJ Stroud odds, okay, and what you're about to see here on screen is his likelihood of being the first overall pick, the second overall pick, third, fourth, and fifth, right? Y'all can read. So, to be the number 1 overall pick, third highest odds. The second overall pick, fourth highest odds. Third overall pick, second. Fourth overall pick, second, which to me, if Stroud goes in the top 5, I do think 3 and 4 is probably the most interesting spots. If the Raiders were to take him in the top 5, the fifth overall pick is starting to be one that I want y'all to pay attention to because Seattle could be a team that is willing to trade back for cheap. Just something that I'm going to throw out there. To me, I do still believe that he's going to be a top 5 pick. I just think that every single year you see rumors, reports, all this stuff go. I might change my mind on this, though, if Will Levis is the second quarterback taken. I still think Stroud is the second QB taken. And yeah, last year was a little bit of a weird draft because you saw quarterback slide. Kenny Pickett was the very first QB taken at 20. This is a different year. It's a different class in general. I still think that Stroud is going to be a top 5 pick. I do not believe he's going to be there at 7 for the Raiders. However, this is the multi-million-dollar question. Do you want the Raiders to draft CJ Stroud at pick 7? He's there. He's on the board. McDaniels and Ziegler are shouting out from the rooftops. Help us out. Do you draft him or do you pass? My answer is this. If he is there at 7, I'd still rather the Raiders try to trade back. If nobody is willing to trade up for CJ Stroud, then it is a little bit of a different conversation. But even if that is the case, I still am going to pass on Stroud. Why? The Raiders, if you're going to take a quarterback, you should do everything in your power to go out and get Caleb Williams, Drake May in 2024 instead of taking Stroud. If you're going to take a quarterback in the top 10, you got to truly, truly believe that that is going to be your guy for the next 10 years. I will take Caleb Williams and Drake May as rookies in 2024 over a CJ Stroud who is going to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo no matter what in 2023, and then you're basically getting a first-year starting quarterback in Stroud in 2024. Sure, he'd have 1 year learning the McDaniels system, but also the reason why I don't want that to happen with Stroud, because I don't want McDaniels and Ziegler to be locked in no matter what to 2024. If they were to take Stroud at 7, you let him sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo this upcoming season, which means your top draft pick you couldn't even use this year to win football games. If they take Stroud at 7, they have a job no matter what for next season. Because why would you then hand the keys to another head coach if you never even got to see your top quarterback play? So that means that they get another free year in 2023, and then 2024 would be their prove-it year. I do not want that to happen, and I also think that Stroud, when the quarterback's in this year's class and in next year's class, is the fourth best one. Sorry, I want defense, and a little bit more defense. Now, we are going to continue to look at some of the latest here around the Raiders in the NFL draft. Todd McShay had this to say on the Raiders drafting a QB in round 1. The Raiders explored a trade up to the number 1 for Young earlier this offseason, but after they were unable to get that done, everything I'm hearing now points to Vegas being out on the quarterbacks. So coming up here on the Raiders report, 3 players that, according to the latest, they love. And when I hear the word love, I get a little bit intrigued by it. It's not just because I'm on the test booster, but, you know, I'm pretty excited. I'll tell you who those 3 players are. But not only are Jeremy Jugs and I going to be live on the Raiders report, we're also here at Chat Sports going to be having live draft coverage as well, starting Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you are a Raiders fan and you want to tune into our coverage, cool. But if you're, I don't know, watching at home and somebody's with you isn't a Raiders fan and they want to watch also draft coverage, guess what? We're here at the link down there below. We have been the number 1 most watched company with all of our draft channels for like 4 or 5 years combined when you add up all the views, and I plan on keeping it that way. Plus, we're going to do more prizes, more giveaways, and a whole bunch of other stuff on our other streams as well. So let's go to the Todd McShay report. According to McShay, the belief is the Raiders will target either Devon Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez at 7. That is the latest report from Todd McShay that he sees the Raiders going with either Witherspoon or Gonzalez. For those of you that watch the show, these are the top 2 cornerbacks in the NFL draft. And I don't really think if the Raiders went with either of them, that it would be a bad pick. If they took Devon Witherspoon, I would be jumping for joy. Let's get this thing up and popping. If they went with Christian Gonzalez, same exact thing. That is an instant starting corner. In fact, I would make the argument it might be the best corner on your entire team. If that's the route that the Raiders want to go with, bet. Let's make it happen. Another report that came out from Albert Breer says that the Raiders love Devon Witherspoon and Peter Skoronski. If you have watched some recent mailbags, if you've watched this show in the last 2 months, I've been telling y'all, Peter Skoronski is a interesting and sneaky name to keep in mind for the Raiders at 7. He is the best offensive lineman in this year's class. He is a top 10 prospect. And is it a big need? No. Is he going to play offensive tackle? No. But I do think he is good enough to play a position, which I get it. He's never played guard. He's going to be good enough to play guard in the NFL, and that would really help make the Raiders' offensive line one of the best in the NFL. So in terms of this, being mentioned twice, I do think is interesting for Witherspoon. And if that's the route the Raiders go, let's make it happen. But I do have Witherspoon, Gonzalez, and Skoronski all in my top 10. All of those picks I would like. Yes, I would like the Skoronski pick less because he plays on the offensive side of the football, but the Raiders can't afford to miss in round 1. Witherspoon, Gonzalez, and Skoronski are players that I don't see missing at all in their NFL careers.